The Wellness Show, episode 133.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. So welcome to the show, and today we're very excited to have Detlef and Cindy on the call, and Detlef has done some work on me energetically, and I have to say he's a very gifted practitioner, and so I'm excited to have him on the show and talk about hypnotherapy and the work that he does, and really the real topic we want to talk about today is what's up on planet Earth. I don't know about anybody else, but this full moon that we're in, which is we're on Easter Friday now, so the full moon that we're still in the energy of has been really turning this planet upside down. My clients are phoning me, they're going through crisis, all sorts of things are coming to the surface. So it brings up the question, so what's up on planet Earth? So from your point of view, both of you, what's up on planet Earth? What's going on?
I mean, what we are facing right now are obviously some frequency shifts or changes. And with that, lots of emotions people are storing or have stored are coming up. And most of the folks have no control over that, which means we have all kinds of situations coming up that people are getting more miserable or that they are imbalanced or whatever can happen on that end. And that's what we are seeing everywhere. I mean, when we have a look at the global situation, you can go wherever you like to go. It's similar. I was just a couple of weeks in Hawaii, and I mean, like Canada, it's paradise, but people were not happy, and that's possibly part of what we're experiencing right now.
So what does this mean from in your profession? Does it mean that the subconscious or the collective unconscious is rising to the surface, and all those things that we've buried and not dealt with, both individually and collectively, are coming to the surface? That's what's going on?
It seems like, because in my daily work, I'm working in two clinics, one in Vancouver at Angel Hands and one in Calgary at the Wellness Body. We are seeing more and more people completely stressed out. And we always had stress over a lifetime, but it seems that all these stored heavy emotions like fear, stress, pain, anxiety, shame, guilt, grief, anger, resentment, sadness, frustration, tension, hate, rage, betrayal, all that are popping up simultaneously. And it seems like that people have less and less control over that. So it looks like that there's some energetic shift or interference happening where that is possible for everybody. And that's possibly what's going on right now in 2017 on the planet, that we have some situations where we have no point of reference within some energetic changes, and that's maybe the cause for that situation.
Yeah, so how are you finding it on a personal level with clients? What sort of things are coming up that are a little bit unusual? Is it just the intensity of the emotions, or is there a different range of things coming up, or what?
Now, what I'm seeing are the medical side effects of it, because when we get the basic idea, and that goes back to Dr. Bruce Lipton and all these cutting-edge scientific researchers, when we get the basic idea that 95% of all situations or diseases are emotional based, that upbringing of emotions, medical side effects take place, that people have more chronic pains or organs are not working properly or whatever is going on there, lots of heart issues, and these kind of things are adding up somehow and give a picture and give a pattern. And that's what I'm seeing basically every day in working with people and helping people to release and remove these basic stored energies in order to get the system back into that healing mode. Where, as you know, I'm doing these energetic surgeries, right, where we can go into the body, into the system, and through the state of trance can extract and physically remove such emotions, as I just stated, from the human body. And that gives the changes and that brings the person on the healing pathway. But again, as I said earlier, it seems like that it's getting really, really busy on that end in 2017 because lots of people have more and more issues.
Yeah, do you think that, as the planetary energy is, increasing and the subconscious and collective conscious coming to the foreground, I sort of have the feeling that maybe some of the entities or disincarnate beings or literally those that are maybe through incantations and voodoo and black magic and other ways have been literally trapped in the earth are being released at this time and are looking for, I know it sounds really a little bit sick, but sort of the vampire energy is looking for an opportunity to get embodied into the human realm. And so I'm finding a lot more possession, a lot more heavy stuff, helping people clear this energy back to the light. Both from the entity's point of view as well as the individual that gets, infected, so to speak. So it's sort of like a two prongs. There's the earthbound entities that have been trapped for eons of time, which are now being released, that want to find their way back to create their soul journey. And then there's the empaths. Those are hypersensitive, the energy fields that are open, that are having to deal with these entities or ETs in their field and don't know how to deal with it. Are you finding some of that in your work?
I guess the two of us, we are in that field and it's increasing heavily. For instance, when we see, as one example or as one pixel of that entire picture, that's the Schumann frequency, which is normally at 7.83 or something like that, was just recently around 35 or so hertz. So we see the planetary frequency is changing, and it's like a roller coaster what we are seeing there. At the same time, it seems that these earthbound entities are more aggressively looking for new hosts. So I can, as we know, both of us, right? We are in the field. We have stories to share for hours and hours, where these energies get a new host and then they try to ascend through that host, which means they make that system sick in order to expire that body and that system in order to ascend. And it sounds off the wall. We know there's lots of scientific research on that end, but that's what we are facing on top of all emotions boiling up. Because when somebody, for instance, had a pretty heavy lifetime, right, with all kinds of situations, emotional trauma, whatever it might be, and is playing on top of that the Ouija board, or is doing dark magic, or the voodoo, or whatever's out there, and is connecting to these energies, then it gets really tricky. And that's what I'm seeing every day, basically. And it was great that we had a chance to talk before the show, because I guess it becomes more and more our main part of the work we are doing to release or ascend these energies. So basically, I guess between the two of us or the three of us, we ascended possibly thousands of energies or souls to the other side, doing mass produce these days. And that's, I guess, part of the entire situation we are facing in 2017. It is a big picture, but it's simple at the same time.
Yeah, exciting times on planet Earth. So that's definitely what's part of what's up on planet Earth is, as you say, the raising consciousness, the releasing of the entities from the that have been trapped, and so the exciting thing I loved about the work that you were doing is that for me, hypnotherapy can be a bit scary. There's all sorts of ways in which it's been manipulatively used on the planet. In fact, some of it is actually, if I dare say, has actually caused some of the entrapment that we're talking about through the misuse, almost using hypnotherapy and the dark arts to enslave people or enslave souls. So how is it that you are able to be really clear in your own being between the light and the dark? How were you able to be gifted in this ability to stand in the light and in the work that you're doing in a lineage that people have played on both sides of the fence, both the light and the dark? How do you do that for yourself?
Now, first off, I have one of the biggest sledgehammers sitting beside me. If there would be any kind of ego shown, she would breathe down my neck and would wrestle me down.
Keep a clear intent.
Yeah, that's really important. The divine feminine, as having your back and helping you stand in the truth is extremely powerful. Which and I don't want to sidetrack you because you're in the middle of an answer, but it does bring up that we really are on this time where the male and the female do need to work together. It's really a co-creative process. So this is not a one-man show anymore. This is not the time of the lone wolf. This is the time of really couples working in a brand new way to really do this work. And it takes the divine masculine and the divine feminine to do this healing, this fragmentation that we are experiencing on planet Earth. So back to that, that original question I asked you, Detlef, because it's an important one, is that yes, you have a very powerful woman to keep you on track and keep you out of your ego. And I guess that really is the key, isn't it? Is that those that have played on the dark side of the fence, so to speak, have forgotten about source and have wanted to play with energies that is really beyond their capabilities at that time to play with.
Now, I guess really important is I had some really, really great teachers and mentors. I want to mention one really important one in my life. It's Diane Cherry. She was the hypnosis icon in Canada. She was one of the first ones working with Bob Monroe when he started the Monroe Institute in Virginia, and they did the remote viewing and all that. And Diana took me under her wings, and basically she showed me the ins and outs, and especially pointed out that the ego component is the most important one to stay away from. And through her and others, other great teachers, and let me state on the show, I'm a big fan of Tyson Bennigan, because he is a real deal and he's a great guy. And it's exactly that clear channel, because that's the part that we have to do the reality checks. We have to stay grounded and we have to stay clear. Basically, back to the question, with all the temptations we are facing, and temptations are happening on many, many levels and layers, we have to be always in the light. And that's the most important part, because somebody who is not in the light cannot channel the energy or can connect to the source field. And that's what I saw within many, many people on that planet. As you know, I'm the president of the Canadian Hypnosis Association, so I'm getting lots of information, lots of insights. And I met lots of people who had that connection, and then they lost it because they stepped into the ego, into the dark side, or got greedy, or whatever the situation was. And whoever has that connection never wants to lose it, actually. And except there is some hidden agenda, that there is some ego involved. And I guess between the three of us, we never want to lose that connection, which means we have to do the work, and we have to do our meditations, we have to do the clearing work, which brings us actually to that app we created. If I can slide that in at this point.
Absolutely. Let me just say a few things about what you were saying, is that, the Monroe Institute and these technologies, well, let's call them the spiritual technologies that, that counterbalance the technologies of human technology, the inner spiritual dynamics. That, the Monroe Institute, the Montauk experiment, all this, has used all these technologies really and crossing over onto the ego side of control, being taken over by the Army and the Navy and the armed forces and using this. And so, I give you great courage and kudos for being able to stand in your truth and say, yes, these technologies have been misrepresented, misused, and been abused on this planet. But I'm going to stand in the light. I'm going to be the president of this society. I'm going to bring this through, because these spiritual dynamics are the very principles that not only enslave humanity, which they've been used to do, but they also are the tools that will free humanity, will free us from our own sins, from our own and commissions that we've committed in this lifetime and past lifetimes. So we're at this crossroads yet again, being able to use the same technology, but with the force of love rather than control. So this brings us to the app. So tell us about the app.
Okay. That was basically, there's no coincidence that Cindy and myself met because that's
Many past lives.
many past lives.
Many past lives.
We got information from source, from the universe independently, and then we were running into each other and we had the same information to create an app, a maintenance tool for all the light workers on the planet. That's exactly the individual can do the clearing work by themselves, because as you just said, the hard part in 2017 with alternate facts and fake news is to find the real deal people who are clear and have no hidden agenda. And in order to keep that connection to source up, you have to do some maintenance work, or one has to do some maintenance work. And that's where the universe gave us information 2.5 years ago, before even alternate facts and fake news were invented, to create exactly that tool where the individual can remove some emotional garbage or some into the system brought fake information where you normally cannot identify it yourself. Your subconscious can, but on conscious level, you have no chance to identify these informations which are deep rooted within the body, within the system, within the meta-programming, within the gestalt, within the filter system and all that, in the psyche. And that's basically where we started to create that app, which was just launched a couple of months ago as a maintenance tool for all the light workers, where you completely can disconnect from the buzz and the fuss on that earth plane level, where you can connect to the quantum field directly, where you have some certain energy flow happening in the body, in the system. And trust us, we were the biggest skeptics on that information. But when we started with the beta testing and we had the latest technology testing it, where we saw the changes within people frequency-wise, and Apple basically passed it and approved it, that's where it gets really interesting, because the universe gave us a tool where everybody can utilize that technology without any kind of interference opportunity from a third party. Where you can
do it yourself.
You do it yourself.
That's fantastic. That's
Through
fantastic.
vision, vibration, and vocal.
Yeah. And for instance, if I can say that, I don't want to talk you down.
No, you go ahead. You're a much better speaker than I.
For instance, Cindy got all the images. Cindy is the graphic mastermind behind that. She got all the images you can see in that app over a period of 20 years
30,
or so, or 30 years.
30.
She was getting that in downloads, and in trance, she was painting it. And yeah, maybe talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's just a lot of it. I mean, I would hide it all away. And then when I would show certain people, they'd say, that's like it was like cryptid information. And we have just put it together so that it can be shared, so that people can understand to connect to their own consciousness, visually, vibrationally, like we had mentioned. And it's your own maintenance tool. And this is where we've come together to create it so that it can spread.
Well,
help us heal. Help us
exciting.
heal this earth.
So how's this different, say, than the heart resonant monitor, which I'm about to be reintroduced to next week, which is, giving you an example of the coherent flow, or your coherence in the heart, which means you're part of the divine flow. In other words, you're connected to source and can receive guidance. So how is this different? It sounds like it's different. So could you explain how it's different?
I guess there are lots, at the end of the day, it's all about energy, right? Connecting to the field and activating the prana of the mind. Where it's like the chord on a guitar, right? Or when you have that, when you pull a chord on a guitar, there's some certain frequency happening and that's spreading. And there's lots of technology out there. With that app, for instance, I guess the difference is you can use that on your phone or on your iPad and can take your time, connect to the field and get deep insight and remove some certain energies or emotions you don't want to carry anymore. That's the outcome. Where, for instance, your technology is possibly working from a different angle, having maybe the same outcome. At the end of the day, it's that source connection we want to create.
Yeah.
And one wants to have as a maintenance tool, right? Where there cannot be any kind of influence from a third party. As we talked about the Monroe Institute, when they started out, I mean, the intent from Bob was quite clear. And whoever was around him at this time, as we know, over a period of time, lots of other interests came in and they utilized it and they took the information and created something else out of that, which is possibly not beneficial for the human being whatsoever. And that's basically where the app comes in, where it gets really wild, because we had even universal quality control. We had in development stages, we had that app on 2 servers. And when something was not right, the universe was crashing both servers, which were totally independent at the same time, where we had to reduce some certain sequences on that app. And it's structured in 5 levels. And that was quite breathtaking, how the universe was interacting with us, because we had many situations where we got second opinions from psychics, or you know, in your field, right, lots of people who are the real deal, which we consulted and said, okay, we just got information, we want to have a second opinion, and everything was ratified on that end. And that's really fascinating how that comes together. So I guess what everybody, you, us, everybody else, you in your group, for instance, everybody has some information, everybody has a part of that puzzle piece or a piece of a slice of that pizza. And I guess all together, I guess that will be at some point a movement, because something has to be done on planet Earth, because where we are right now, as you said, I mean,
it isn't working. Yeah,
it's not working now. It's simply not.
So about the app, so you were led to do pictures or paintings. Is that how the original energy came through?
Here comes the fascinating part. It's the combination of the visual aspect and the audio aspect, including the music. And that's where I had a long time to get my mind around. Everybody who's using it, so has the device in the hand, it looks like that. I'm just starting it here quickly. It looks like that. Oops, disclaimer. So basically, when you go through the levels, at this very moment, when you utilize that, there comes some energetic connection into place between the user and the quantum field.
Right. Nice. I like that. So you're connecting to the quantum field and infinite possibilities in every moment. And that allows you then to have a clear connection to make your next best choice. Wow, that's amazing. Well done.
Thanks so much, Tyson.
Thank you.
The biggest question we had when it came to the development and to the beta testing, because our biggest question was, okay, when we create something like that or we get that channeled, how can it apply for 7.8 billion people at the same time, for instance, because everybody is in principle different, right, with the history, with the backgrounds, beliefs, structures, whatever. But here comes the fascinating part. The human hardware is within every human the same basic starting platform. It's like a computer, right? When you get a new computer, the same, you can upload whatever you want, right? It's the usage of it. And it's the same with a human being. Basically, as we know, with a blueprint, everything is perfectly created up to the point that the environment educates the living daylight out of the individual. And that's where that app is tapping into the prana of the mind. For however that is possible, I mean, people will find out that at some point, or whatever you're having on your end, right? I mean, here comes the summary of things together, where we possibly find out, A1, there is no coincidence that everything happens simultaneously in 2017, that we launched the app introducing some stuff, and B, that everybody gets prepared to basically rise above. It's about adjusting the DNA and all that, and coming to the next level of frequency. And as we see people or folks like us, they get so many tasks into their pathway to rise to the next level.
Yeah.
And other people cannot handle the frequencies, and that's where we are to help them, right? And that's basically
so
that.
let's see if I've got this. Let's see if I understand this. So, so using this technology that you have that's on an iPhone or can be on an iPad or any smartphone, is that correct?
Yeah.
Then,
no, not any. It's only Apple.
Yeah, or even on a computer. It allows the individual at whatever level that they are to tap into the quantum field, which then, because it's an infinite possibility, delivers exactly what that person needs for them to make their next best step. And therefore, they're essentially, nobody can go wrong in using this technology because it's totally aligned to every individual, wherever they are on the ladder, climbing the ladder to the light. Let's describe it that way. So it's got built-in safety already into it, and it, for every human being on the planet, it offers that potentiality to help them go clear, if we want to use that expression, or be in the divine flow, if we want to use that expression, or to be clearly conscious is another way. So yeah, it sounds very, very exciting. In the previous interview, we were talking about that the difference between DNA and RNA, that RNA is our soul origin, that comes through clear and pure. And our DNA then has all the, the entrapments, conditioning, all of the stuff that comes from our society and our lineage. So if we were going to use that terminology, this will remind you of your original blueprint. It will plug you into your RNA operating system and help repair the DNA. So for those that are about to be part of our new program, Finding the Force, we're talking about the new operating system for planet Earth. So this would be a great tool to implement the new operating system for planet Earth, because it will connect you to the divine. So did I get that right? Does that make sense, or what did I miss?
That's awesome. Again, here comes the part. The individual has the opportunity to make that connection.
Yeah.
And of course, the individual has to make that step.
Yes.
Where the maintenance tool on that end is the opportunity to step out of that exactly programming of the RNA and the DNA, which is society-based.
Yeah.
In order to get to that point, you have to realize what's stored in the system.
Right.
Where I'm always saying the easiest way to explain that entire process, what I'm doing with the energetic surgery, for instance, it's like a computer system. When you put all your programming on and your music and videos, whatever you want to have, everything is happy within the system up to the point that you plug the computer into the internet. That's where you get all the crap, the viruses, the Trojan horses, all that stuff, right? Which is piling up on the hard drive, and the human individual has no chance to remove it normally, him or herself, where we got the maintenance tool now that you can access all that information, that data or that energy, which can be released from the system.
Ah, I love it.
Which is not encompassing at this point entities, because that's a totally different situation energetically. It's basically Earth's plane created emotions and feelings and energies. The entity, we are just working on level 6. It's not out yet, but it's a DNA adjustment to the 13th strain, right? And possibly we come out with an entity app, so to speak, where one will be able to even access that and motivate these energies to leave the host or leave the system. And I'm pretty sure, Tyson, that over the next couple of weeks we have way more to talk about, because you're doing some great stuff over there. And yeah, let's see what comes out of that.
Yeah, it sounds like the Entity Be Gone app. I like it.
Tune in next episode for part 2 with Tyson and Detlef.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.